by Fort Manuel, dominating Marsan Chateau Harbour. Fort Manuel was erected at the command and expense of Grand Master Manuel de Vilhena, a Portuguese knight who ruled between 1722 and 1736. The fort would house a garrison of 500 men and is one of the finest in existence. A chapel dedicated to Saint Anthony of Padua, like the fort damaged during the war, is also a work of art. If you look at the fort leading up to the entrance, you can see some very low steps. These were purposely built so low because the knights used to wear heavy suits of armor. If the steps had been any steeper, it would have been difficult and tiring to climb them. Today, the fort is used as a yacht club.
Fort Manuel. Nous sommes en train de croiser le Fort Manuel. Dominant le port de Marsan-Chateau, le Fort Manuel a été érigé à la commande et offert du grand maître Manuel de Vilhena, chevalier portugais qui régna entre 1722 et 1736. Le fort pouvait abriter une garnison de 500 hommes. C'est l'un des plus beaux forts de Malte. Si vous regardez le fort, vous pouvez voir quelques escaliers qui mènent à l'entrée. Ceux-ci ont été volontairement construits très bas puisque les chevaliers avaient l'habitude de porter des costumes lourds. Si une mesure avait été plus importante, il aurait été difficile et laborieux pour les soldats de cavalerie de les gravir.
In medieval times, the dreaded plague often visited Europe from the east, and of course Malta was no exception. The system of the quarantine originated in the parts of the Mediterranean, and the first lazaretto, or isolation hospital, was established in Rinella Bay in the Grand Harbour. A permanent one was built on Manuel Island in 1643 by Grand Master de las Feres. This hospital is known as the Lazaretto of St. Rocco, and it is the building with the arches coming to our right-hand side. Many distinguished visitors passed through the Lazaretto before they were permitted to visit Malta in the 19th century. Among these were Disraeli in 1839, Sir Walter Scott, Aerator, and Lord Byron in 1852. The quarantine laws were so severe that negligence by landlords was punished either by a 3-year term, hard labor in the galleys, or sometimes even women. It should be remembered that nearly 5,000 men, women, and children died right-hand side, you can see the town of Taj Beach. Taj Beach is the corruption of the Maltese word shpiek, meaning fishing nets. Fishermen used to stretch their fishing nets to dry along the shore. That is how the town got its name. Most of the foreign embassies can be found here. You can spot some of the different embassies from their flags. Up to about 20 years ago, the area of Taj Beach was a very expensive area property-wise. In fact, some of the beautiful aristocratic houses you can see dates back to the 18th century.
Taj Beach. Sur votre droite se trouve la ville de Taj Beach. Taj Beach vient étymologiquement du mot maltais shpiek, qui signifie filet de pêche. Autrefois, les pêcheurs étendaient leurs filets de pêche pour les faire sécher le long de la mer, le long de la ville. 2 décennies auparavant, la région de Taj Beach était une région très chère et passage de Malte. On peut voir quelques belles maisons aristocratiques qui datent du XVIIIe siècle.
When the British came to Malta, they found a great number of iron cannons on the island, which had been used in 1565 by the Knights of St. John. Having no further use for them, they brought them down to our harbors and used as bollards to tie their ships to. There are about 300 of the bollards along the coast of this harbor and the Brent harbor. You can see a few of them onto the right-hand side.
Voilà. Lorsque les Britanniques débarquèrent à Malte, ils ont trouvé un bon nombre de canons de fer sur l'île qui furent utilisés en 1565 par les chevaliers de Saint-Jean. Ils n'ont pas d'autre utilisation pour eux. Ils les ont emmenés jusqu'à l'Europe et utilisés comme bornes de liaison pour la navire. Il y a environ 300 bornes de longueur côte, de support et du renfort. On peut voir quelques-uns d'entre eux sur le continent.
Coming to our right-hand side on the harbor, you can see the black galley called the Black Pearl, which has quite a history. This was sunk for quite some time and then brought up to be used in the filming of the musical Popeye the Sailor Man, which took place in Anchor Bay on the north side of the island. It is also used the private yacht of Aaron Flynn. Today it has been converted into a very good bar and restaurant and still have its original name, the Black Pearl.
Black Pearl. Maintenant, nous pouvons voir l'édifice appelé Paloma qui a toute une histoire. Venu pendant un certain temps, il fut ensuite utilisé pour le tournage de la comédie musicale Popeye le matelot. Aujourd'hui, il a été transformé en un bar-restaurant.
We are now cruising by the birthing place of Malta's battleships and aircraft carriers. Well, these are Malta's patrol boats run by the armed forces of Malta. Amongst other duties, they must ensure that no foreign fishing vessels enter Maltese territorial waters and attend to any kind of travel out at sea. We are also cruising by Floriana, the suburb of Valletta, with a population of over 3,000. It is named after its designer, the military architect Peter Paul Floriani.
Les bateaux de patrouille. Nous sommes en train de croiser le Léotacostat, le patrouilleur de Malte, qui est géré par les forces armées nationales. Parmi diverses missions, ils veulent s'assurer qu'aucun navire de pêche étranger ne pénètre dans les eaux territoriales maltaises et assister à toutes sortes de difficultés au large.
The 66-meter-high Gothic steeple marks St. Paul's Anglican Cathedral, one of the oldest churches that we have in Malta. When Queen Adelaide, widow of King William IV of England, came to Malta, she found no Anglican cathedral. She, therefore, ordered and financed the building of this one. The church organ was brought to Malta from the cathedral in Chester, England. St. Paul's Cathedral is situated opposite the Auberge d'Aragon, built in the year 1571. The big dome behind is the new dome of the Carmelite Friars, which was originally built in 1573.
La cathédrale anglicane de Saint-Paul. Le clocher rustique de 66 mètres de haut appartient à la cathédrale anglicane de Saint-Paul, qui est la plus ancienne église de Malte. Lorsque la reine, Amélie, veuve du roi d'Angleterre, Guillaume IV, vint à Malte, elle n'en trouva aucune cathédrale anglicane. Elle a donc ordonné et financé la construction de la cathédrale anglicane de Saint-Paul. L'œuvre de l'église fut exportée de la cathédrale de Chester, en Angleterre, jusqu'à Malte. La cathédrale de Saint-Paul est située en face de l'auberge d'Aragon, construite en 1571. La grande coupole est derrière le nouveau dôme de Carme, qui fut initialement construit en 1573.
We are also cruising by Malta's capital city, Malta, just built on the peninsula of Sugar-Ras. That splendid town, quite like a dream spouse and Walter Scott described Valletta during a visit in the year 1831. Its palaces, magnificent churches, and massive fortifications have altered little over the years, and it remains as a fine example of a fortified city of the Renaissance. It was founded by the French Grandmaster Jean Parisot de la Valette following the Great Siege of 1565. Valletta covers an area of 915 meters by 640 meters and is surrounded by 2.5 kilometers of solid bastions. Amongst other places of interest one can find in the city St. John's Cathedral, the National Museum of Fine Arts, the Monument Theatre, Port St. Elmo, the Grand Master's Palace now used by the President of Malta, St. Paul's Anglican Cathedral, and the Auberges of the Knights.
La Valette. Nous passons en ce moment la Valette, capitale de Malte, qui fut construite sur l'incarnation de Chileras. Cette splendide ville est l'incarnation d'un rêve, comme le décrit Walter Scott lors de sa visite en 1931. Ses balades, ses églises magnifiques et ses fortifications massives ont pu changer au fil des années. Elle reste un bel exemple des villes fortifiées de la Renaissance. La Valette a été fondée par le grand maître français Jean Parisot de la Valette à la suite du grand siège de 1565.
Side at the point of Malta, you can see Fort St. Elmo. When viewed from here, the fort resembles a five-pointed star. It was built through the design of the Spanish engineer Pedro Duardo. The fort was originally built in the 15th century and later enlarged by the Knights of St. John. Fort St. Elmo bore the brunt of the first Turkish attacks during the Great Siege of 1565. Was also the first fort to be bombed by the enemy aircraft during the Second World War. One of its useful channels is dedicated to St. Elmo, patron saint of seamen. Today this fort houses the War Museum and the Police Academy.
Le fort Saint-Elmo. Sur la droite, vous pouvez voir le fort Saint-Elmo. Il est construit par l'ingénieur espagnol Pedro Duardo. Le fort fut érigé au XVe siècle et a été édifié par les chevaliers de Saint-Jean. Le fort de Saint-Elmo subit les premières attaques de Turcs durant le grand siège de 1565. Il a également été le premier fort à être bombardé par les avions allemands durant la Seconde Guerre mondiale. Une de ces deux petites chapelles est dédiée à Saint-Elmo et au Saint-Patron de Maroc. Aujourd'hui, ce fort abrite le musée de la guerre ainsi que l'académie de police.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grand Harbour. Grand Harbour is the longest and most important harbour in Malta. It is also the largest natural harbour in the Mediterranean. It is a harbour that over 500 years ago brought knights and grandmasters with bastions, forts and fortifications. 5 cities were built around the magnificent harbour. These are Valletta, Floriana, Senlia, Cospigua and Vittoriosa, with a circumference of 9 miles and 6 degrees. Grand Harbour resembles the thumb of a hand with 5 fingers. Marsa Creek, French, Dockyard, Galley, Calcara and Vinanna Creeks.
Le Grand Port. Bienvenue sur le Grand Port, qui est le port le plus grand du Malte. Il est également le plus grand port naturel de la Méditerranée. Il fut construit il y a plus de 500 ans pour les chevaliers et les grands maîtres. 7 villes ont été construites autour de ce port magnifique. Il y a La Valette, Floriana, Sandia, Cospicua et Vittoriosa, qui possèdent chacune sa propre crique. La circonférence du Grand Port est de 14 km.
Building above the fortified walls, green doorways and a very long balcony was the hospital of the knights, known as the Knights Hall and later as the Sacred Infirmary. It was built in 1575 by an unknown architect and is believed to be the longest unsupported ceiling in Europe, which is 153 meters long. It could accommodate 2,000 patients in times of emergency. Nowadays it has been converted into the Mediterranean Conference Center. Above the fortification once again, further along the bastions, you can see some arches, which make part of the lower Baracca Gardens. Here we have a monument dedicated to Sir Alexander Hall, who did so much to aid the Maltese in their uprising against the French. In front of these gardens, you can see a monument with a bell inside. This was built to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the George Cross. It was commemorated by Queen Elizabeth in May 1992.
Les jardins inférieurs de Baracca. Au-dessus des murs de fortification, encore plus loin, le long des bastions, vous pouvez voir quelques arches qui font partie des jardins inférieurs de Baracca. Ici, nous avons un monument dédié à Sir Alexander Ball, qui a tant fait pour aider l'humanité à se révolter contre les Français. En face de ces jardins, vous pouvez voir un monument avec une cloche qui fut construite par la reine Elisabeth en 1992.
The two rectangular buildings along the shore are fishermen halls. Every morning fishermen bring their catch here and fish distributed all over the island. These halls were originally built by the Knights of St. John. We are also cruising by the other side of Malta. If you have already been to the city, you must have noticed the many steep streets and steps. When Malta was built in a great hurry, because the Knights were expecting another Turkish attack after the Great Siege. So, priority was given to the walls around the city. It took them 5 years to build these walls with 5,000 Turkish slaves.
La Valette. Nous sommes aussi de croisière par l'autre côté de la Valette. Si vous avez déjà été dans cette ville, vous avez sûrement dû remarquer ces nombreuses rues escarpées et ces escaliers. Eh bien, la Valette a été construite à la hâte parce que les chevaliers attendaient une autre attaque turque après le grand siège. La priorité fut donnée aux murs autour de la ville. Il leur a fallu 5 ans pour construire ces murs avec l'aide de 5000 esclaves.
If you look high above the fortification walls, you can see some more arches, which this time make part of the upper Baracca Gardens. This is where you should go for the best view of the Grand Harbour and the three old cities. These gardens used to be the place where the Italian knights came to practice. In the 18th century, they were transformed as gardens for the public. Along the shore is the old customs house. That's the building with green doors and windows. Attached to the upper Baracca Gardens coming into view, you can see the other side of the ditch, which separates Valletta from its suburb, Floriana.
Les jardins supérieurs de Baracca. Si vous regardez au-dessus des murs de fortification, vous pouvez voir quelques arbres qui font partie des jardins supérieurs de Baracca. C'est là où vous devez aller pour avoir la meilleure vue sur le grand port et les 3 villes anciennes. Le long de la rive, il y a la maison de la vieille coutume. C'est la construction avec les portes et les fenêtres vertes. Rattaché au jardin supérieur Baracca, vous pouvez voir de l'autre côté le fossé qui sépare la Valette de Floriana.
We are now cruising by the other side of Floriana, and on top of the hill you can see some typical houses with Spanish-style verandas. Malta's houses are built from a soft stone called the Gloca Regina limestone. We are also cruising by Pinto Wharf. The old buildings along the shore dates back to the times of the knights. In fact, they were built by Grand Master Manuel Pinto. The small chapel you can see along the shore is also known as Pinto's Chapel and was mainly used by the seafaring people. As you can see, buildings on our right-hand side are now restored and painted in their original colors. Nowadays, Pinto Wharf is reserved for the cruise liners and is also known as the Valenta waterfront.
Quai de Pinto. Nous sommes en train de croiser le quai de Pinto. L'ancien bâtiment le long de la rive date de l'époque du retour des chevaliers. En fait, ils ont été construits par le grand maître Manuel Pinto. La petite chapelle que vous pouvez voir le long de la rive est également connue comme la chapelle de Pinto. Aujourd'hui, Wharf Pinto est mieux connu sous le nom riverain de la Valette.